Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Walter Onogen, says the Supreme Court is ready to speedily determine disputes that will arise from the 2019 general elections. But the CJN warned that everyone must come to the court fully prepared to avoid unnecessary delays.
Yeah, the courts are already overburdened, and if previous elections are anything to go by, then it means even more work for the courts. They will have their hands full with matters arising from pre-election and post-election issues in the 2019 general election. All right, we look forward to how things will unfold. A lawyer, Olayinka Oladaniels, joins us now to make sense of these issues and their implications. Good morning, Olayinka. Nice to see you.
Good morning.
All right.
It's a pleasure.
Now, when it comes to disputes in elections, before the election, we are seeing several disputes already within the APC, the SDP, even within the PDP. They're all having disputes one way or the other already. Now, what are the implications of this going even before the election? There are disputes. What are the implications? How compounded are the issues?
Well, things like these are inevitable in the electoral system. Yeah. One, we must take note that the INEC is in charge of the elections, to conduct the elections, to manage the elections. Why? The court is there to settle disputes that arises from whether pre or post elections. And when such dispute comes, because there are aspirants, there are candidates, they may be grieved and thinking, oh, things that didn't go the way they should go. That's why we have the Electoral Act, and that had made provisions for avenues for dispute to be heard in court. And that is why we also have the court to come in to resolve any issue. But now, like I said, it's inevitable. You always have disputes in an electoral system, such as, I mean, everywhere in the world.
But won't the courts be overwhelmed, really? I mean, when the CJN, Walter Onogen, says that the courts are ready with the warning, he has said, look, politicians, all of you who have any disputes whatsoever, be prepared so that you can avoid unnecessary, delays. Well, how ready can the conventional courts be?
The truth is, the court is always ready. But then, the challenge and the issues we most times have are the cunning ways of the politicians. Now, a politician may bring 10 different cases. It's just one case. Now he has gone to 10 different courts with different facts on just one matter. Now why? Because if I don't get it here, maybe this other court will give me, or that other court will give me, because he's not sure of getting it. Now you can see how the politicians are trying to complicate the matters. You know, so it's really not about it. The court is ready. The court is ready to do the job, and that's the reason why recently there's a training for the judges of the Court of Appeal that come. See, don't just allow frivolous cases, or even the Federal High Court. I remember recently also the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court, Justice Adamu, also, came in and in fact gave directive to the judges. Don't just allow ex parte motions anyhow. Now stop let the matter be visited. Let the substantive matter be visited. So you don't just, they come with ex parte, that one will come, and what you have is they hold on that, and you find the substantive matter, you are not even looking at it, and somebody is looking for one thing or the other. The politicians,
here and there.
That, in fact, even the I remember the part of the training for the Court of Appeal judges, the chief just said, see, even in some of the Supreme Court decisions, says, come, the matter of mandamus, statutory, and some frivolous orders are not allowed in election petition. We all know that when it comes to election petition, the president and the governor ends at the Supreme Court. When it comes to National Assembly, State Assembly, ends at the tribunal, at the Court of Appeal, except for few cases, for rare exceptional cases, probably maybe pre election, not even post-election. So all these things are clearly stated. And thank God for the Chief Judge, what he has come to do. And I'm sure we saw what happened recently when a court, or the Federal Court, turned down an ex parte motion. Yes. So the court is ready. And they are sending signals also to the politicians. Well, if you want to be funny, we are ready for you. When you come, then we will not hear your case. Then we will look at the substantive, the merit of the case, and not just, wasting the time of the court. Because the only way a common man or an average politician or a candidate can get justice is this same court. So if the ones that probably the gladiators, let me use the word, the gladiators, they then come because they have all the apparatus to manipulate, and they come and they just, the next thing, your matter is thrown out.
Considering even the training you talked about for lawyers, for judges, and all of that, all lawyers, in fact, judiciary is the arm that waits to ensure that the society goes on well as it's supposed to be. But we have seen cases where politicians, like you say, bring in different kind of frivolities. Besides that, money is a very strong factor in all of this. Now, how ready are the courts? Because when it comes to the issue of the role of money, we've seen where the Chief Justice has said, if we catch anyone, you are going to face the consequences and all of that. But these things still happen.
Well, let's put it this way. There's nowhere in the world that the word corruption does not exist. Now, what you can do is to either minimize, if you cannot expunge or if you can't eradicate totally, but you can minimize. And that is what, that is the measure the judiciary has put in place today. Thank God for Justice Onoye. That is the measure he has put in place today. Come, you are being watched. We are watching you. So whatever you do, you don't forget, there will always be a Judas. There will always be a Judas somewhere.
Referring to the judges now, because
Yes.
he has said there's a need, for courage and firmness on the part of the judges in carrying out their statutory duties.
Yes.
Is that lacking to a large extent within the judiciary right now, as presently constituted?
Well, maybe before now. We were all witness to what happened, just, 2015, 16, we saw what happened. But recently also, we can say that to an extent, it has reduced. To an extent, you see judges delivering his judgment without fear and favor. And that is the reason why you see appeal going. And that now, what Justice Onoge has done, the Chief Judge has done, and he has told all the judges, at the lower court, whatever you do, we come here. Whatever the frivolous things you allowed, we come to the Court of Appeal and we come to the Supreme Court, which would not be allowed there. So even if we say, okay, probably some of the lower courts, some of the high courts and the rest of them, they decide to be manipulated. Well, they conceded to the manipulation of the politicians. Then it's going to the Court of Appeal. And it's going to the Supreme Court from there. And you know what we are to, at least by the time you get to that place, those people are ready. These are people that have made up their mind that enough of these things. We want to clean the judiciary. We want to have a sense of, we want to give the people, the common man, the belief that this is a place they can get justice. And not just to get it, but to be seen. To have,
at that level of the Supreme Court, or around the Supreme Court, how unlikely it is too that there are no inducements to that level?
Well, unfortunately, I am not at the bench and I'm not with them to categorically state, well, it is like that or otherwise. I can only talk about what we see and what we hear about as to the Supreme Court judges. At least some of the Supreme Court judges were, there were allegations, and some of them were arrested, and some. So
some of them were raided.
Were raided. Sorry, let's put it like that. So we can't say that they are saints. Maybe a few, maybe some. We can say they are saints. But what we can see so far, because some of these things are allegation also, like if I don't get a favored judgment, I can then go to say, oh, make noise and say, oh, yes, oh, he's corrupt, oh, he took money and all that. So we can't say they are saints, and we cannot say otherwise.
You did mention about election tribunals and all of that, and a lot of people have actually asked the question whether the courts would not be overwhelmed, whether there's a serious need to actually have election courts to handle election cases strictly so that we don't overburden the regular courts.
Whether they have courts for elections strictly or not, same thing will happen. You know, that can only stop. Being overburdened can only stop if we talk to these politicians to stop their frivolous applications. Like I said earlier, you can't have 10 different cases one case in 10 different courts because you are trying to manipulate some people or not. And these are the same politicians that will still go and give money to some of these judges. So you can't take it out.
In a situation where a politician goes to different courts, like you painted a picture earlier on, you have the same case, but you present them to different courts with different facts and all of that.
Thank you.
Now, how about the court system? That if the court system were unified or in a kind of a system where you know what is going on here and all of that, wouldn't have checked the system?
Yeah, it will. But then, you see, we have precedents. And that is the reason why the Chief Justice at the training was telling them, see, please don't go outside this precedent. There's rule of law. Let all these things follow rule of law. Don't just make decisions when some of these decisions have been made already, because that is happening in the lower court. And that's the reason why they go to those 10 courts we are talking about, because this gives this decision, you go with different facts with the other application, then you find out that one gives different and conflicting decision. Exactly. Then you hold on to the one that favors you to say, oh, this is, yes, the court gave me this.
The court of competent jurisdiction.
Thank you. Meanwhile, the other one did not give you that same judgment. Okay. So, but like you said, yes, if something is happening now, we are working on, I'll still say it, I'll thank Justice Onoge and the judiciary as a whole, because there's work going on right now. In fact, some of our applications, everything is going to be on E. Okay. It's going to be electronic. It's going to be electronic. So with that, then they've told us, okay, go and register your email with the Supreme Court and all that. So by the time we do all that, so whatever that is happening, it can be seen on the system. So if you want to bring 10 cases, bring it. If we know that it's the same thing you're talking about, then
we'll be knocked out.
Well, straight away. Okay. I think they're working on that, and we hope that judiciary will not disappoint and will keep his stand and handle his matter without fear and favor.
Okay, thank you very much. Olayinka Ola Daniels, a lawyer there, joining us this morning.